Welcome to the second dream review. If I remember right, I may have promised doing these daily in the first one, but I don't think that's realistic. I think I can do a little better than this, but it does make sense to wait until I have good dreams worth doing a dream review. But regardless, last night was a brilliant night for dreaming. I went to bed kind of early, sober, and slept in on a weekend. Like, what better occasion to dream, you know? And while I had a bunch of dreams, one of them, my friends beat me up because I let a girl put her arm around me and I didn't realize that she was with one of my other friends, so I was like breaking the code. One of my dreams, I played pool with like some sort of embodiment of the devil. It wasn't just Satan, but I know he was evil. And in another dream, I found my pink hacky sack that I haven't seen in a long time, and that kind of sucked to wake up and know that Pinky has still not been found. If you're seeing this, Pinky, I miss you. Please come back. But most importantly was I had a different dream last night that had some plot, some theme elements to it. I don't know. It would like make a good movie. I'm gonna put my keys down. So to start this dream, I guess I'll set the scene. This dream, I'm gonna pitch it kind of like a movie. And if it was a movie, I would be I don't know if I'd even be the main character, because the plot sort of evolved and the dream wasn't even following or revolving around me after a certain point. But at the start, it was. So this dream starts out in like a sort of secretive looking office space, like a bunch of cubicles, very white and gray, no windows. I haven't even seen Severance, but like it sounds like what Severance looks like, I think. Is there cobweb in my car? What the fuck, man? I gotta start rolling my windows up. Okay, so at this sort of underground secretive office space, I am working, and it's like this company that deals with tech and physics and science and weapons, and I don't know, you could imagine this is like secret Lockheed Martin or secret US government weapons department, like some conspiracy version of that. And I'm working there, and I am young, as I am in this dream as well. And my dad, who's not my real dad, it's just some dude, is like high up in this company. And I'm basically like a CIA weapons department Nepo baby, where like, yes, I am very smart and gifted and good with tech in this dream, but also like there's not really that much of a reason for me to be there at such a young age. Most people there are experienced and have been through the system more than I have. And I'm working at my cubicle on whatever the hell I'm doing. And my dad, who again does not look like my real father in the real world, but just looks like the business superior type, either like hands me a note or whispers to me a secret. And the way it's presented to me, it's very surrounded in information and those sort of ways of presenting things. Like the secret he gives me, it's not something I understand when I hear it. It's something that leads me to go on my computer and access like a database or a project file and see this. And essentially what the secret is that they've discovered some new thing that has like unbelievably, amazingly high density. And it's like a real object that exists on this planet. And it's so absurdly dense that it like throws off everything about physics. It means like the planet weighs more than we think it does and such. And I remember I'm learning about this, and there's nothing special about it except just like the amount of mass, whatever this property, item, state of matter is, or like the amount of mass this thing holds. That's all that matters. And it's like small size. It's amazingly dense. And I learned this, and while I can't, this guy in the real world couldn't really express why that's so important immediately, me in the dream knows. And I know this is a huge deal. And I also can tell by the way that my father is presenting it to me that it's being covered up, you know? So the first thing I do, I think, is I recall there being a note passed to another person. And it was this woman who works there. And I feel like she was younger. Maybe she was like my love interest or something, or like just a female coworker I'm super close with. But more like I'm passing this information more on a like, friend, you are close to me, you need to know this basis, than a business basis, which is also the way the information was presented to me from my father, because he's probably discussing this with the other super higher ups, and he's like, I don't care how top secret this is, my son needs to know this because he's my son and he's important to me, and maybe there's some danger involved in this secretive thing. And so I remember passing this information on to a woman via like a crumpled up note. And in the note was like a line of code commands that was like, I think it was for Python, and it had to do with accessing a database. So it was like thing equals from get to in db 44857. Like, I don't actually know how to access a database via this code from the top of my head in a way that the database would be secret, but that's what it was. And I pass this note and I just walk away, and she opens it and crumples it up, or uncrumples it, and types that in. It's like, oh. And then I remember that she then spread the rumor to another guy. And I remember me was no longer really a core part of this dream, and it sort of followed the note being passed around with her, to which she passed it to another dude at a desk, in which he looked at it. At the same time as this, I'm unsure how plot-wise this works, there's also a sort of virus monster thing going around, and that's really where the core part of this dream as a movie comes. Is imagine like a movie, or like maybe it wouldn't be a pure horror because there's too much nuance in it, and it's not about this like monster that you can't beat. It's about like a situation. And so in this sort of thriller sci-fi thing, it's like a conspiracy where the information is being hidden and people are speaking secretly in the same way that this infectious thing is going between people. So it was hard for me in the dream to differentiate between a conspiracy of like high up weapons officials interchanging information versus a monster sneaking around to infect other people. And I guess the way this monster acted was it did have to do with the amazingly dense property. It would spread through people, and for a good 10 minutes of dream space, maybe 20, there was a lot of action going on surrounding the bathroom of this place, where I, the viewer now I'm kind of watching it like a movie, would never really enter into the bathroom, or at least not often. But I remember people taking people in and out, and part of it was like maybe some of those interchanges were someone going into the bathroom to exchange a secret about the amazingly dense thing. And on other times, it was the monster infecting other people. And essentially the way this thing worked was all you needed was to get close to other people, and then the evil heavy thing would get passed on. This sounds stupid. It's hard to explain, but Like the evil heavy thing would be past, and this is where it got to sort of like cliche horror of, I do remember one scene that had nothing to do with this, and maybe this would have happened later on in the movie or something, where this makes it out of the CIA space, where there's people in a house, and I remember seeing someone like all fucked up, and then they go like, oh, and then their tongue shot out and grabbed another person, and they got infected. That's only what I can imagine is happening in the bathroom. And I know this has to do something with mass and density and people gaining, like, I don't know if these people are just becoming like immensely heavy. Like, imagine how powerful I would be if I weighed 10 tons but was still able to move exactly like I am now. Like, F equals MA, my force would be, 10 tons divided by my weight, that many times greater. I could pick this car up that I'm in and throw it. I don't know if that's what the infection was trying to do. I don't know. One of the only other things I remember is a very large woman playing an integral role in this. Like, it sounds comedic and raunchy and not appropriate. I don't know. It was like somehow the infection was getting passed on the most by just a very fat woman in the office. Because I remember her going in and out of the bathroom a lot. And maybe she carried more of the dense property to share it. I don't know. That's like I'm just telling you what I dreamed. I don't think in a movie that's a horror about mass properties, the supervillain at the key of the infection should just be a fat chick. Unless I can find a more elegant way of making it key to the plot. But that is what it was in the dream, and I'm sorry. Taylor Swift was one of the people that got infected by the fat woman. I was driving around with a bunch of people yesterday in the real world, and Taylor Swift was on aux a lot. No comment. But yeah, that's probably why she was in the dream. I'm doing a poor job of wrapping this up, but that's, I guess, because I don't know how the movie ends. I think there's some cool, what I like out of this, I'm talking like I want to make a movie. I don't have any aspiration of doing that ever in my life, I don't think. But if I was to make a movie, I do really appreciate the idea of both an infectious disease and a conspiracy in the same office setting. Because then, like, both the disease is hidden and government information is hidden. It's kind of showing how, like, information and the privilege of receiving information spreads like a disease. And eventually this could snowball, no pun intended, into a sort of dynamic like in The Thing, which I watched recently, where it's like who's infected and they're trying to figure that out. And again, this role of knowing more information could play into that team dynamic, which could be cool. And it could lead to those higher ups being accused more, and maybe there's like a mutiny, which again, it's like, maybe do we as a society need a mutiny against these higher ups in the underground Severance setting weapons facility? Do we need a mutiny against those people because they shouldn't be hiding information? But what it takes is a crazy density tongue infection disease and their gatekeeping of that information, and us thinking they have the disease for us to take them down. Was the information the disease all along? I'm bullshitting, but I've probably been talking way longer than I think, and that's the dream. As a dream, this was a good one. If it closed out better, this would have been a great dream, but like, I don't have enough direction for this movie idea, and I like thinking about my dreams kind of like movies, because the alternative is thinking about my dream as being something super personal to me and insightful in my life, I prefer it when it is like this and half of it's not even about me. Like, again, I'm the son who the information starts with, but then I don't, as you heard, I didn't really talk about myself for a lot of the dream. So to rate it, not that ratings matter, 8 out of 10. Like, pretty damn good dream. If you rate this as a night of dreams, like 9 out of 10, because I had other dreams too, and none of them were. The getting beat up because I broke bro code was kind of a bummer of a dream, but like overall pretty good night of dreams. I miss my hacky sack. That dream was cool, and I'm just talking myself in circles. So I will see you all, whoever you may be, sooner than last time, and have a good day. Peace.